Aloha one, aloha all. I wanted to say hello to everybody that participates in any of my media platforms, including YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So thank you. If you participate in any way, shape, or form, I really do appreciate that. So today I want to talk more about reality and the difference, if any, between our realities and our imagination. And I touched on it yesterday, I believe, and I just wanted to go into a little more detail in terms of the differences, if any, that occur between these two realms. So, our physical reality is what physics studies, and it all has to do with motion, the motion of objects, the motion of particles. The imaginary realm of quantum mechanics is very useful in sort of predicting the outcomes of various occurrences that happen. So, if we study classical Newtonian physics, what we're doing is we're taking the evidence of observational properties of physics that have everything to do with motion. So everything is moving, everything is flowing, everything is growing, everything is knowing, because everything is sentient. So the physical evidence of sentience is motion. So sometimes what we do is, let's say we're a chemist and we are conducting some sort of chemistry experiment, and we see the reaction of the different molecules that are interacting. So what we're observing is the evidence that we call motion. So everything is moving, and the reaction that we see during a chemistry experiment is the evidence that verifies that everything is sentient, regardless of it being organic or inorganic. Now, there seems to be sort of a third bridge between organic and inorganic materials, and we call that synthetic matter. So anything that is synthetic is going to be silicon-based entities, if you will. So they are synthetic organizers, whereas humans are organic synthesizers. And basically everything that is alive, everything that is organic, that is sort of in between these states of being, are processing information. Every interaction is a process. Every processing of information requires the exchange of energy, and everything is mechanical energy because everything is moving. So mechanical energy is the summation of potential and kinetic energy. So potential energy has to do with the position of the particle in relation to the things with which it is interacting, and kinetic energy is the motion itself of the things that are experiencing the results of those interactions. Are you with me so far? So, what does this have to do with quantum mechanics? Well, quantum mechanics has to do with the measurement of space-time and the various properties that we have chosen to study and observe. So anything that is considered an observable property is what we use as the evidence to verify the values of these effects that occur. And the effects are the results of the experiment. So everything that we do, everything that we see, everything that we observe has to do with these experiments. So Albert Einstein came up with the theory of general relativity in 1915, and it wasn't really fully embraced. When was it? Maybe 4 years later. And the evidence had to do with the observation of starlight bending around the sun during an eclipse. So that evidence verified at least a portion of what Albert Einstein was saying in regards to his theory. Now, there have been several other observable events, including black holes, uh, gravitational waves in 2015 at LIGO, and all of these things just confirm what Einstein had proposed. And the proposition was that quantum mechanics has some value, but according to Einstein, who was very uncomfortable with any sort of probabilities of these outcomes occurring, because he wanted to be 100% certain. And what he was certain of is that the imagination is what we use to sort of make sense out of what we are observing. And once we accept that, then we know that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, including Albert Einstein's thought that quantum entanglement is somehow spooky. So spooky action at a distance is what he called it. He and Niels Bohr had debates back in the late 20s, and what they debated was the differences between classical physics and quantum mechanics. So Einstein would come up with a thought experiment, he would propose it to Niels Bohr, who then would pick it apart, and the end result of these debates was that the scientific community believed that Niels Bohr won. They both won because they were both correct from their perspectives. Their frame of reference was justified. So once we know that both of them were right, we also can look at Sir Isaac Newton and say that, hey, you know what? Einstein didn't prove him wrong. He proved him right from the frame of reference of what's called a localized perspective. So going back to the idea that we have not unified the fields is not completely accurate either. We have unified the fields. And the way that we do that is by using our imagination in combination with the evidence that we see in our physical reality. So, use your imagination and have fun with that sort of interaction, and know that whatever you are observing is occurring in your imagination. So you're justified in whatever you think, whatever you believe, and however you feel, because all of those things are the justifiers that resolve whatever it is that you're doing in your present moment. So the only thing that you ever really have is the here and now. And if somebody ever tries to dismiss your beliefs and tell you that you're wrong, well, you can thank them for their time and move on, or ask them questions. See if they want to have an honest debate and discussion in regards to whatever it is that you are discussing. Don't let anyone tell you that what you believe is evil or bad or wrong or this or that or the other thing. It is what it is. So you are completely justified in whatever it is that you believe. And it doesn't matter what you believe, because causality reigns supreme. So I think all of the physicists and biologists and chemists and philosophers and practitioners of various faith-based beliefs understand that causality reigns supreme. If you know that it does, and you choose to call it karma, that's okay too, because it's all the same thing. There's cause and effect. And sometimes the effect is the cause, and sometimes the reverse is true. So don't worry too much about how you perceive reality. Just know that you are perceiving reality the way you are meant to perceive it. And then share what you learn and hold true to your position. Be impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions. Don't take things personally, and do the best that you can in all of these things. And during the entire process, know one thing: God loves you.